Are you ready to run your short-term rental business like a superhost? If so, look no further than Guesty for Hosts. Guesty for Hosts offers listing management for all three major OTAs, Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo. With Guesty for Hosts, you can create a branded direct booking website in minutes. I've been able to hit 61% direct bookings in my business and automate daily tasks such as communication with cleaners and communication with guests. Click the link in the show notes to get an additional $20 off your first month.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let
Thrive. What is up, Micah? Man.
I'm chilling. Stevie Stacks had a long week. How you doing?
Had a long year so far, man. It's been craziness, but that's how we do, you know?
Hey, we're only 3 weeks in, man.
That's the whole year, right? Oh, man. This is episode 192 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Lyft, all that share economy stuff, or Uber, podcast, whatever, in the world. And we're coming at you live from Fort Worth and Arlington, Texas. And we have a guest today, Micah.
Who we got?
Kent, he is joining the podcast. Who is he? His he's got a little bio he wrote us. His name is Kent. He works full-time, a full-time tech job in a corporate insurance company, and has held various jobs before being an EMT, restaurant owner, manager, management consultant, and tech manager. He's a short-term rental investor looking to use cash flow to fund affordable housing units here in Southern California for social workers, nonprofit employees, volunteers, and first responders. His goal is to provide a better world for his daughter. That'd be good for my daughter. That'd be good too.
Oh,
to grow up in, where people can choose to do things over money, and where good people can be the best versions of themselves without worrying about high rent. I love that.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
So you got a cheap place for me to rent in SoCal?
Hey, there can be government subsidies, right? That's what I'm looking for. It goes back, man. It really goes back to when I used to work as an EMT, I was making $12 an hour, and that's crazy, man. You're running around trying to save lives, and I couldn't pay rent in the Metro Boston area. It's just it's not. It doesn't make any sense to me in this world that good people can't choose to do good jobs because they can't pay rent. So to me, that was just very backwards. And that's why I really chose this mission. I really want my daughter to grow up in a world where people can be the best version of themselves and not have to worry about the high rent, man. It's just so important to me for my daughter to grow up in a better world and for all of our kids, man.
Thanks.
No, that would be like you said, they're working the hardest job, saving lives, all this stuff, and not getting paid very much. Yeah, maybe. I mean, and we're gonna dive into it more in the show, but maybe government get some government credits, for doing jobs like that. That would be cool. That'd be good
For real, especially EMT, man. Man. So Kent, how did you get involved in the short-term rental space?
Man, I think a lot of people might have a similar story like me where they're trying to achieve financial freedom. They're trying to get out of their 9-to-5 job. And I read a couple of books last year during COVID. That might be the silver lining in all of it is I was home. I read it more than I would have normally did. And I learned about real estate, rental properties. And I started out looking at turnkey investments, to be honest with you guys first, because I was scared of managing rehabs. I was scared of managing contractors. So I said, what's my next best move? And listened to a couple of podcasts and finally realized that short-term rental is where I need to go. If I'm trying to leave my full-time job, I need to replace that cash flow as soon as possible. And short-term rentals were the only way that I was going to be able to do that. And I think figuring out my why is just so important. So in order to fund an affordable housing project, you need another high cash flow. And then that really plays well to diversify out with each other. So I said, hey, let's jump on in. Short-term rentals is it. And I don't know how much more details you guys want me to go in terms of the research process.
Oh,
research. Yes.
Yeah, go into the research and then go into how did you get your first one?
All right. So my research started with AirDNA. So they had this big report 3 years ago where they said best places to invest. Right in that list, I picked out a couple of markets based on rental demand. And I prioritize rental demand because I know there's a lot of hustlers out there. And if you're willing to dominate the market and you're willing to take more action than anybody else, then you can succeed in the market when there is enough rental demand. So that's how I picked Scottsdale. Went to AirDNA, purchased a report, and basically just looked at the top 10. And I stumbled upon one of the top 10 Airbnbs, and it was bachelorette-themed. And then I found a realtor who also owned the Airbnb, who also was a realtor. And I said, hey, I want to do what you're doing. And thankfully, she referred me to basically her designer. She helped me look for property. She guided me along the path of how to pick an Airbnb. What am I looking for? What will help me succeed in that market? So right then and there, I was probably looking at 3 markets at that point, but that gave me the most confidence to pick Scottsdale as my market because the team was there. And if there was anything I learned more from corporate America and all my prior jobs, the people you work with are the most important. So that is where I got the most confidence to start my short-term rental investment career. And that's how I picked Scottsdale. I knew what theme worked. I knew I had the right team and I had to be decisive, and off I went.
Wow. You said you read some books. What books did you read to get into real estate?
Oh man, they were like rental property investing and, like those Brandon Turner books by Bigger Pockets.
Got to.
Read a bunch of like books on how to do financial analysis. So I read a book on how to do financial analysis. I created a spreadsheet based on that book. And then that's how I applied it to use that towards analyzing my short-term rental properties. So it's just pick a book up, learn it, apply it. And I must say, I would advise all people to just learn as you go. Don't try to read all the books in the world. Like pick a book. It's like, I think what they call it just-in-time learning. Read it, apply it so that you don't try to over flood your brain with too many thoughts, man.
That is a fact. That is a fact. I love that. So, and then what podcast were you listening to get into the short-term rentals and real estate?
I think it was one of the first podcasts that I heard from. I listened to Bigger Pockets, tons of those. I listened to all of them about turnkey investing, decided that wasn't my path. And then I heard a podcast, I think it was by Tony Robinson, who leads the Real Estate Rookie podcast now on Bigger Pockets. And he was just talking about how he listened to this podcast, another episode by Avery Caro, and he applied it. And this was 2019, 2020, when he got started in Joshua Tree. I was like, all right, finally something that seems achievable for a regular guy like me. I'm not competing with the guys that own 1,000 units. I'm competing with a guy that just started 2 years ago. And I was like, all right, there's a way to do this. There's a way to handle all this madness. And that's how I learned it. I figured out I want to do short-term rentals and I want to diversify with Section 8 housing so that I can have a really balanced portfolio. And by getting a couple of short-term rentals and then getting a couple of affordable housing units next, that will actually probably propel me to be more brave, more bold, and take more action to buy more deals because you get high cash flow with higher risk, higher time commitment, but then you can balance that out with some short-term, long-term rentals in Section 8 housing.
Diversify. Yeah. I like that. Going backwards real quick to AirDNA, does AirDNA work and is it worth the price?
I don't think it's worth the price anymore. And here's why I say that. If I were to do this all over again, and this is the advice I'm giving to everybody now is, and I'm a big fan of action. So for our listeners out there today, I would advise you, go look at your MLS today, find a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom property, kick the address down, go to PriceLabs, sign up for the market dashboard, plug in the address, and then just filter down on top revenue. And just then, and right now, today, you will learn and take a step towards getting and becoming an expert in short-term rentals. Because right then and there, you'll figure out, hey, is this market suitable for short-term rentals? What makes this property successful in that market? Is it amenities? Is it a theme? And that is such a more concrete analysis than some of the more general numbers I saw from AirDNA. I'm a big fan of PriceLabs now, so nothing against AirDNA. I think they probably got more sophisticated. I just personally prefer PriceLabs now going forward, and especially with the market dashboard feature.
And it's free to do that on PriceLabs?
It's $10 a month. So for me, if you're investing $100,000, pay the $10 right now. And it's so much data. And PriceLabs, a lot of people use PriceLabs, so they're not making up this number off the top of their head. when I first compared one property in Temecula, California on AirDNA, and I actually made a bid on that property to purchase that property, I compared the numbers that was released from the seller and compared that to AirDNA, and it was really off. So I was like, all right, that gave me some skepticism about the data that I'm seeing. So I don't want to over trust like that data that I'm seeing in AirDNA. I think you have to do the due diligence, and you can't rely on just whatever you see on your DNA.
I'm happy you brought up that PriceLabs plug, because I just found out about it about a month ago, because I've been using PriceLabs for a long time. So that market dashboard thing was like eye-opening. I'm like, dang, you can like see like the real live data. Because if you compare it to AirDNA, you're like, wow, this is a little bit more accurate. Now, when you said AirDNA was off, was it off as in it was too low or too high?
It was too high on AirDNA for that one property that I was trying to buy in Temecula. It was like bachelorette themed again, but the numbers that the seller disclosed to me was just so off compared to what I saw on AirDNA. Like I looked up that property and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Red flags kind of jumped up to me. I was like, then you got to get wildfire insurance in California because everything burns, and it adds like $5,000 to your home insurance premium really quick. You got to watch your cash flow, and it's different challenges to different markets, right, guys?
Yeah. And what year did you decide on Scottsdale?
2021. So I made an offer in a property in Temecula, California in June of 2021. As soon as I got that quote back from the fire insurance, man, I was so attached to the deal, but I pulled it because it didn't meet my criteria anymore,
Wow.
And that's why you have to be really good with your numbers. Like, wow, I just got this information. Hey, let me pull out a deal now because it no longer makes sense for my deal. So
that takes some guts.
You got to use deal, and you got to remember to keep your emotions out of it and stick to the numbers and don't try to make it up.
Man, numbers over emotions, huh?
Yes, sir.
I've been in that situation. I know what you mean, man. So you live in Southern California and your listings in Arizona. How have you handled remote management?
Oh man, it's been a while. My listing has only been up for about 3 months, guys, to be honest with you guys. And I've had a cleaner quit on me. I've had things break in the house. I've had hot water problems, but I knew this was going to happen. So what I would advise everyone to do is find a cleaner, find a backup cleaner, then find a backup cleaner. Same thing for my handyman. I've got a handyman, I got a backup handyman, and I got a backup handyman, so that whenever anything happens, I'm calling them right away, because chances are someone might be at dinner and they might not be able to get over there in time. So you really need to have all your contingencies in place so that you can handle whatever problem comes up at your property. And honestly, like hot water problems, man, like I think customers just expect you to take care of it right away. And I think if they know that you're being sincere, they really appreciate it. Like as soon as I got a hot water problem, I said, I will work on getting a plumber out to you right away. Please be patient with me. Let me buy you lunch. I will pay for your lunch. Here's a quick refund for you guys. And they're like, oh my God, that's so nice. And I think my advice is like when you are first starting out, you need to preserve that 5-star rating, because that has snowball effects on all of your kind of upcoming income. Because like if you have like a 3-star review to start out with, chances are people aren't looking at your listing that fast anymore. And just be smart. Be really smart about what you complain about and what you nickel and dime your guests about if you're starting out.
So don't just tell them to get like a giant pot and fill it up with water and put it on the stove. Old school, man. Yeah, man.
So hold on. That's one cool thing about your unit. Did you say it was bachelorette themed?
It is bachelorette themed.
Nice.
Now, how does that work for you? Is your cleaning more expensive, or like how does that level out with you would it be like a themed unit?
Yeah, and are you guys okay if I share numbers about the cleaning?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's like about $300 for a clean. They're raising rates now. So for this one house is $300, but I really like the company that I work with because they do a clean. They have someone come in and QA to clean. And then the day of check-in, someone also goes back and takes pictures of everything, just so you don't get people trying to scam you, saying,
I love that.
To a dirty house. And that for me was worth the premium, because I know it's labor to send someone out there one more time, but I need the assurance that things are looking good. I need to make sure that there aren't falling leaves in the back, because when you have a property that's averaging $1,000 a night on a weekend, people expect perfection, and they don't want to walk in with this part. Like, they don't want that. I think that has really helped me set the mindset, like, just take care of the customers, make sure they get the best experience possible. Don't try to nickel and dime them, and just spend the money, because you will see that pay so much more dividends in the end.
This was the biggest. I mean, it's one. You're dropping a lot of gems, as they
Man.
say, but this was a really big one, and you gave me a great idea for my company, and I'm going to tell it to my partner right now. But the quality control part, because like you said, you get they got someone to QC it like right after the cleaning, and then the next day, I've never even thought of sending someone out before they get there, man. That is, I mean, because you get people in there and say, look, it's all dirty, and we were just there like 10 minutes ago, man. It's clean. We got the pictures to prove it, and I'm gonna bring that up with our cleaner, because here's the problem with cleaners. Most all the cleaners that I'm coming across, the head cleaner's freaking rock star badass cleaner, right? And they'll do the first couple cleanings. You're like, oh man, I'm set. I don't have to worry about. I'm gonna throw away all the other phone numbers. And then they send on the third or fourth cleaning. They send their crew. They send whoever's in the group that can make it out to clean your place, and they're the ones that jack it up. And so I know that they have to do that in order to scale, because I mean they're in high demand right now, right? But if I pay them another, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks to go out the next day, the head cleaner, I want to get it from her phone, the head cleaner go out there and take pics and check everything before the guest checks in. It'll take her a few minutes, but she'll get paid for it. That's a freaking phenomenal idea, man. Thank you for that. I'm out.
You are going to kill it, man. You're going to kill it with any cleaning company, because that is literally the problem that most hosts fear, and you're taking that fear out of their equation now, and just by that you're solving problems, and you are helping them avoid $100, $200 potential credit that they've given the customer just to argue like, oh, I'm sorry that wasn't dirty, when they have no evidence. And I think it's just so important, man, especially with the new Airbnb policy out there for damage coverage. Like, you really need to have really strong evidence that it was clean and not damaged before you get it.
And I'm gonna put that in the check-in thing. Oh, by the way, we sent, welcome to our place. We hope you enjoy it. And by the way, we sent our cleaner out again to make sure everything's perfect for you guys when you arrive. And that'll be part of the, this is sweet.
that was a deep gem right there. Because I've been talking to my cleaner about like QA checks and all that. I never thought, hey, send them out there the day someone checks in. That was next level. I love that. Now,
I love it.
Now, I have a question for you. Since it sounds like you're buying all of yours, right? You're buying all your short-term rentals?
I am.
And then how are you buying? Are you doing traditional 20% down? And how are you buying them?
I am doing traditional conventional financing. I'm using the second home loan. So with my first deal, I had a partner that I grew up with. I knew him since 8th grade, one of my best friends. And, shout out to Wilson, because I'm so blessed that he agreed to say yes to sign on a dotted line with me. And, that for you guys, for all the listeners out there, just be a good person throughout your entire life, and eventually that will also pay dividends, man. Be a good person, be consistent with who you are, and that allowed me to find a partner that's going to sign up on a loan, sign on a dotted line with me, get the loan, get the credit. And when I first signed and bought this deal, I paid 15% down with no PMI, which was amazing. But that is no longer available now as of the first week of January this year, because they just raised all the fees. I think it was like a federal housing authority or something like that added the fees. So we were just trying to close another deal, and we were trying to do the 15% down, and they were trying to charge us 3 points for the loan. That's like 20 grand. So we're just like, whoa, guys, we're just going to pay the extra 5% down and just get 20% down on 3.625 interest rate. So we're working on a deal right now. Hopefully we'll close it within a couple of weeks, and we'll set it up and get it up and running again.
Man, so are you planning on to keep scaling up by putting the 20% down, or are you going to try to have to eventually tap out and get creative with it?
I am going to have to get creative with it. I think you and I probably talked offline. I think I need to figure out how to find financial partners for my next couple of Airbnbs, because, everyone runs out of capital at some point. And I think I am trying to get out there and show people what I'm doing. And I would say I've gotten advice from a lot of different people, where some might say, don't take money from other people because you won't get the peace of mind. I completely agree with that. And then I also have friends that are looking to me sort of as a leader, even though like I only have one Airbnb, guys, right? I'm not the expert at this, but I have the confidence that I'm going to do whatever I can to fix whatever problems I can so that they don't lose money. So I think everyone has a different perspective on this. For me, I would never partner with a stranger, but for me, partnering with someone that has known me since 8th grade, and if we can draw out a legal agreement about how I will make certain decisions on every single type of problem that might come up, so that we can be philosophically aligned, I think that it lays a good foundation for a partnership. And that's what I did with the second deal. I'm also partnering with someone that I also knew since 8th grade. And man, I literally laid out, hey, when this happens, I'm going to do whatever I can to make it right for the customer. Are you okay with that? This means that I will give refunds. I have to be responsive, but I'm going to take care of it for the sole purpose of preserving that 5-star ratio. And this might mean a smaller bottom line for you. Are you okay with that? So I think just getting to that level of detail is so important if you're taking money from people. Don't just say, I like you, we're good, and we're going to go for it. So I know I went a little tangent there, but man, I'm just trying to get some good advice out there for people that are trying to pick their own paths.
Man,
Another
I love
beautiful
that.
gym, another one. And that's that, man, it just reminds me because something just came up tonight. And it goes going back to the cleaning, right? And it's our unit in Houston. They sent the B team in to clean it, I guess, like I was talking about. And it didn't do the best job. So we're handling the issue. My partner Federico reached out to our partners. We partnered on that with two people down there,
Mhm.
and so he reached out to them in our little WhatsApp chat group and saying, "Hey, this happened. What should we do? I was thinking of this and that," and then now it started this like stream of 1,000 messages. I was like, dude, we're kind of managing. We're the management company, right? Me and Federico. And I was like, maybe we shouldn't bring them into the mix in every single issue that comes up, because then we'll start this whole 1,000 different questions, 1,000 different opinions, 1,000 whatever. And then when you said that about, okay, when situations happen like a missed cleaning or something, let's agree how we're going to figure this out, and then we don't have to message them, we'll just handle it, man. That's fucking cool.
And that's such a big peace of mind for you, isn't it? Like I agree with them. Nothing under $1,500, I'm not going to ask you guys for permission. Anything over $1,500, I will ask for permission. And you just got to set those thresholds and just know that you have the ability to manage. And obviously, it stems from them having trust in you. And they can only trust you if you tell them what mistakes you have made and how you're going to handle certain issues when they come up. And that's the best way to kind of lay it all out so that there's no sort of like nebulous, oh, what's going on over there? Just know that he's handling it. And that becomes now a passive income for my friends, and they get to continue building wealth for themselves, for the kids. And I don't know, that actually motivates me more. It might scare certain folks for taking money from other people, but it motivates me way more to make sure like they don't lose money, and I can help them build financial freedom and help them get out of corporate America, because I know everyone wants to get out of that grind. So, it's different set of motivation for different people.
Micah, this guy has 100 units, has been doing it for 10 years, right? Right?
Like I love that at the very beginning, you started with your why. This is my why. And it's easy to build up once you have your why. That's why it sounds like, man, he's been doing it a long time. Man, he started with the end in mind. I love that.
Right. You got to have clarity in what you want.
Facts. Now, on your since yours is a themed unit, have you tried like putting it on Peerspace or anything like that?
I have not, honestly. I put on VRBO and I've gotten 0 bookings from there. So to me, that spells out that my clientele for the bachelorette theme in Scottsdale only want to book through Airbnb. And I think that's okay. I can listen to my customer. And if I am just on Airbnb, then maybe I need to think about how to advertise better. Maybe I apply for the Airbnb Plus program or something like that, right? What else can I do to help my listing stand apart? And another thing I'll start doing is probably just starting a blog online, talk about what do bachelorettes do in Scottsdale, so that I can generate some sort of SEO and get more traffic towards my listing too. So again, I'm telling you, if the demand is there, I would do whatever is necessary to get the demand to my listing. And I think that is like a key driver of success for all your listeners. Just think about what else you can do to get it moving and get it popping.
Yeah, send male strippers or whatever you got to do. Yeah, I fixed the plumbing. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, um, that it's cool too because like so many people are like, no freaking bachelor parties, no freaking bachelorette parties. We don't want any of that crap at our places. You're doing the exact opposite of what most every host, including myself, do. And you've keyed in on something like a need out there in the market. Then all these people are like they can't rent places and Airbnbs because people don't want them to party. But you're actually providing a place for bachelor and bachelorette parties to happen. That's freaking cool.
And I know that because I've talked to people in my own group that says I try to book an Airbnb, and when I told them I'm coming for a bachelorette party, they actually get declined. And I think for that same exact fare. And I would say my advice is if you are pursuing the bachelorette theme, you have to have a very high level of vetting your guests. Meaning, this is the cool part about bachelorettes. I don't want to generalize here, but most groups do a really good job of planning their bachelorette parties because you got like 8, 10, 12 girls, right? 14 girls. You got to figure out what you want to do when you're on there. So here are the questions that I learned from my realtor. I always ask like, hey, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Tell me a little bit more about your group. What do you have planned while you're in Scottsdale? And what events will be happening at the house? If they're saying I'm going to have a pool party at the house, it's probably not a good fit, right? If they say, hey, I've got all this planned on Thursday, I'm going to go hiking. On Friday, I'm going to go to this pool party at this day club, not at the house. And Saturday, I want to go for a nice dinner outside. Those are the guests that you want to invite into your house. So in order for you to have that choice, you need to have a really good product. And man, we spent so much money on this house renovating and making sure like when in doubt, we got the nicer couch instead of the cheaper couch. When in doubt, get the colorful pop instead of just like the mundane gray couch that just looks really nice. And by having the nice product, that gave us much more attractiveness to the clientele that we're looking for. So we can have a larger pool of good bachelorette clients to actually pick from and actually invite into our home. And so far, I haven't had anybody trash my house, knock on wood. I've had the neighbors call the police on my guests before. So that is a lesson learned that I then quickly applied and asked, hey guys, all my incoming guests, please know that there is new regulation in Scottsdale. Our neighbors have a lot of power. They can call the police for reporting a nuisance party. And I asked them to, hey, can you please not play music outdoors and move it all indoors? I did this as a trial. I got about 30% cancellations, and then it all rebooked. So I was like, whoa, I can have a higher standard for my guests and I can still be booked. Man, it was just such a relief, man. Because like, look, you're not going to learn everything as you go unless you do it. And this was just a good case of like how you prove out that you can attract a certain type of clientele that nobody else wants, but you can still make it work. So having a good product in place is so important. Vetting your guests is so important. And then trying to make sure you put in policies in place that help you find those non-partiers. And I think if people are canceling because like it's a deal breaker because they can't have music outside, chances are don't let them in. Even though you might be foregoing money, that gives you so much more peace of mind on the weekends to know like, hey, whatever they're doing isn't going to cause my neighbor to call the cops and then the cops are going to call me, because that is crazy stressful. So we all got into this for peace of mind, financial freedom. Don't lower your standards for money. Keep your standards high so that you can attract a more higher clientele that's responsible, is going to take care of your home.
Go high end and have high standards. I love it, man. And then, always invest in a more sturdy stripper pole, because big girl, she's going to want to get on that thing.
Dude, when the cops came,
it always happens. I've seen TikTok.
The cop was a stripper.
Reno 911 started pouring milk.
Oh my god! I was just like, I dodged a bullet. I'm hoping it was good karma from back in the days when I was an EMT, and good karma paying forward. So I didn't get in trouble. The cop didn't report me. They didn't cite me. And man, I was very blessed, very lucky. But I knew right away I needed to take action. And I messaged all my guests that were coming in and say, hey, no music outdoors. Are you okay with that? It's okay if it's a deal breaker. That's fine. But it might not, it's just not worth the stress for me. So you have a lot of power in how you manage it.
So is it just bachelorette parties? You don't do bachelor parties?
No bachelor parties. No.
Okay, because guys wild out, right?
Guys might get,
They wild out.
right then and there when I bought the house, I said that diving board gotta go because some people's gonna do some dumb things when they're drunk.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Back to big girl. Yeah, she gonna do something.
Now, that's a question. So you only do bachelorette. I've never thought about that. Like, so you don't do the bachelor side. Do you think there's like have you had people inquire to do bachelor parties there?
I've had some guys inquiry, but it was because like there's like a big golf tournament in Scottsdale in February where like you can rent for $2,000 a night easily.
Oh
for
snap!
a house. It's like the biggest golf tournament of the year. It's like the Waste Management Open or something like that.
Really?
But yeah, $2,000 a night, easy, and they don't blink.
What? Now you have a question because you said you went to AirDNA before you made your decision. Like, what's the average nightly stay out in Scottsdale?
I don't know. It was pretty low. I want to say when I did my underwriting, it was about $600 for average daily night rate. And I've just blown past that. I'm like $1,100 a night. But my occupancy is about 50%. So some people might say I'd rather be more full. I'd rather be more empty and make a higher rate.
Hell yeah.
Any day. And guess what? Everyone is going to ask for an early check-in. So my advice to people is like, what do we do on real estate? We want to look for a deal. So give your guests a deal. Hey, they're asking for early check-in. Hey, normally we're pretty booked out. Would you be interested in blocking the night off before for $300? Because it would have been empty night for me anyways. So I said, hey, would you be interested in blocking the night off before for Wednesday night so that you can either check in early on Thursday, whatever time you want, or you can actually fly in on Wednesday, get a full night in, and it's actually cheaper for everyone to fly on Wednesdays in general. So now you just gave them a deal. They feel like they won. And they also saved a lot of money for the crew because they're flying in a day earlier and all their flights are cheaper. So you were able to get from a 3-day booking to a consistent 4-night booking for all these bachelorette parties just by offering them what they would have asked for anyways, which is an early check-in.
Wow.
That's really good money because if you're charging $1,200 a night, an extra $300 to block a calendar, man, that is G, man. You're dropping some good gems, man. I love it.
Hey, I'm really here. I'm really trying to help people. And I guess like my ask from all your listeners is just if you're taking these hints, please just promise to do good with your money, man. That's all I ask for. Just promise to do
Make it rain.
You know, do good with your money so my daughter and all of our kids can grow up in a better world. That's all I ask for, man. That's way more important than any sort of amount of money that we can ever make in this world.
Don't make it rain. Unless you're at a charity event. There you go.
Now, you said that you went a little high end on your furniture, like on something like a themed unit, and you're charging $1,100-$1,200 a night, and you're at 50% occupancy. That's great, in my opinion. Now, what's your startup cost on something like that?
Let's see. So I can give you guys some numbers. We put about, I want to say we budgeted. So first deal went way over budget, right, guys? I would say we were planning to spend about $180 all in, down payment, furnishing, etc. But I think we quickly realized there were some issues with the pool, things that you just don't know unless you kind of get into it. Like you think a 1-inch wide gas pipe is good enough for a pool heater, but it actually needed to be 1.5 inch. So boom, there goes a couple of $1,000s, right? And we were probably all in for about $250,000 after furnishing, after renovating the entire backyard. We thought about, I'll be honest with you guys, at some point in time, we're like, you know what, should we do the pool deck for $3,000? Like, let's not, but it looked old, it looked tired. We could have gotten by it, but it wouldn't have been the experience we wanted. We wanted people to come in expecting perfection, and we want to deliver on it. So huge cash burn in this business. But if you want to succeed and it still makes your numbers make sense, you should go for it. So how I structure with my partners, like I take a 10% management fee for handling all the problems off the top line. And then we split the cash flow from the remaining cash flow profits. And we're still making 20% for the partnership. So 20% cash on cash is still a very good return. And for me, that's almost like a 30% if you think about it, because I get 10% off the top line. So it was all worth it.
That's awesome, man. Did you have a designer to design the themed bachelorette house, or how did you do it?
Yeah, I found her through my realtor, and I think I was talking to 3 designers at that point in time. And I think everyone just needs to be honest with themselves that most people aren't good interior designers, and you need to trust the designers who have a success. So I picked a designer that had a lot of success in the bachelorette theme with another house in Scottsdale that I found. So that's how I decided to pick her. She's Lindsay Peterson Collections. You guys can find her online. I told her I would give her a shout out too, but she has done really amazing work. She's wonderful to work with. And my advice to everyone is just like, everyone works by hourly rate. So just do a good job and be a good human being and just like help them along the process. Get them whatever they need. They need photos from all four corners of the room. They need measurements. Get that in advance. Be prepared so that everyone knows like what you want. And she's very accommodating. You had to like just go on Pinterest, go on Instagram, send her like a dump of like everything in your brain, like what you want, and it'd be as detailed as you want. And she would materialize it into something. And for you guys, like my whole theme around is like, hey, I want my house to be bachelorette theme, but I also want it to be classy enough that people can get ready in before weddings. And I've actually had people inquire like, hey, can I get ready at your house before a wedding? But they only want to book like a one night stay. So it wasn't like a right fit, but it worked. Like someone actually inquired about getting ready at a wedding and it worked. So yeah, leave the design to the experts. Don't try to just like cheap out on design, because I think having everything come together and having people comment in their reviews about how well everything is coming together, I think that's so much more worth it at the end of the day. It's
I bet
investment.
I bet you have the full length mirrors in every room, right?
I got the makeup mirrors in like one big room, and girls love
that. The makeup mirror with the lights and all that shit.
They got like the vanity mirrors and stuff like that, and people are going to drop them, they're going to break them. I quickly realized I need to just have like two backups in the garage, just so that when they break, they drop, just replace them right away when the cleaner comes in. So
nice.
You just got to learn all these things as they go.
And you have wipes to wipe off the makeup too?
Yeah, I got the makeup towels for the guests as well. So you got to think about their needs when they're at the house. Because if they don't have the makeup towels, they're putting on your regular towels. So not a good idea.
Exactly. Man, this is good stuff, man. I like how you did the themed unit. You said you went on, you spent $250, but I mean, you're making what, average 18,000 because you're at 50% occupancy, 11 to 1,200. That ain't bad at all. Now,
conservatively gross about 160, 170 this year, conservatively, I think.
Wow.
On one unit. Love that, man. Love that. So now I don't know, but our backstory is me and Kent, we're in the same mentorship program, which is Springboard. So I know you're big on I'm not big on it, but we're both follow the BRRRR strategy. Are you planning on using that to like scale up your short-term rental side?
I am considering it. I think my strategy is going to be a little bit different for the summer. So here's my guidance, right? BRRRR is like the holy grail of like real estate investing methods. But I really had to think about like my market. And if I were to say, I'm going to try to do a BRRRR and spend a whole year renovating it, like I just said, I could be losing 160 grand in revenue. So you got to think about it from that perspective. Like, do I want to, if I put 120 down and I'm trying to BRRRR it and spend a whole year and lose 160,000, like, don't I get back all my money just from running it for a whole year instead of trying to BRRRR it? So for me, that was like a decision that I had to make. Like, no, I'm not going to try to BRRRR this because it's my first deal. I'm going to learn how to do cosmetic fixes only. I coordinated my own flooring, coordinated my own painter. I didn't have to do any of this, but I coordinated my own painter, my landscape contractor, do all the backyard renovations, coordinated the pool guy, coordinated thing. And from there, I can actually get referrals on contractors that they can actually do BRRRRs. So if you guys don't know where to start, I would recommend do something easy to start, and don't try to like, I need to solve the world in one go. Just take it easy and just like get some work done. Find out who's a dependable painter, and chances are the dependable painter will be used by a dependable contractor. And I think that's how you can slowly expand. So I think for my summer deals, because it's slower season in Scottsdale, that's when I might actually decide to do a BRRRR or look for like a fixer upper if the right property kind of comes along. It's just the market is so crazy in Phoenix and Scottsdale just because you have so many wholesalers there already. It's just very, very competitive. So my goal is like, if I were to do it, I will only do it if I'm starting a property in the summer. If I was starting a property in October again, I would not do it because I want to be up and running before busy season, because February, March, April, I'm grossing 20 grand conservatively a month in rent just for 1 month. And you don't want to miss out on that because you're trying to burn.
Man, I love you. You're very, very calculated. I love it. You see what season to do it in, what season not to do it in, and what your thought process, I think, is where the short-term rentals market in general as a whole is going. You got to know what market to do this to burn in, what market to arbitrage in, what market to, you can put 20% down, get your money right back in. And that's very good calculations right there that you just did.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
For sure.
Kent, you thought of doing like arbitrages and stuff like that?
To be honest, I haven't. And I think it's something that I wanted to explore, but I also I don't know, COVID scared me a little bit, and this might be a limiting mindset, but I don't want to, here's my thought. If the landlord saw me making 160 grand in rent, chances are that landlord's going to raise my rent next year. Like there's no way that he's not. And I just put in all that money to make the backyard nicer and, buy all this furniture. It's just, it's so painful to do rental arbitrage if I have to move all this furniture out and spend all that money on like my murals on a wall that like I paid a painter to paint on. Like I can't take that with me. So there's a lot of sunk costs in there that I don't think it's worth it. If I were able to get like a 3 to 5 year lease, maybe that'd be a different situation. So I think that's the only way I would do a rental arbitrage. I think the money is definitely there, but I'm definitely exploring like the co-hosting area, and maybe I can expand there to develop a little bit more cash flow to kind of fund a few more purchases going forward.
I like that answer. And we had a guest a couple of shows ago, Mrs. Castleberry, and she mentioned that she's getting out of arbitrage because she's like, man, I'm paying $17,000 a month in rents. That could be equity. And I was like, that's a cool way to look at it, man. Because and you're putting all that work and effort, and all of a sudden, when the lease ends, now what? You have to get out of there and paint over the murals and all that shit. But that's what that. But if you're putting all that into your own property and then building equity at the same time, I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to make it work. And I think if you were going for different clientele, it certainly can work. I think if you're going for travel nurses or something like that, and you don't need such extravagant design, I think that works really well. I'm not saying rental arbitrage method is bad. It doesn't work for my clients, but it can certainly work for other clients and other clientele and your target guests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's very true. Because like I'm in the Houston market, one of the markets that I'm in, and it's almost, now that I'm looking at the market from a different perspective, it's way easier. It's way better. It's more profitable to buy in that market. Where in Dallas, it's more, you can be just as profitable doing an arbitrage, So you have to look at the numbers in each market. That is, and our listeners, I want y'all to understand that. And me and Steve are actually going to break that down here on one of our episodes. So definitely keep that in mind.
So do you use at all turnover B&B?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
Do you use turnover B&B? You ever tried that?
I do not. And I use the software that is preferred by my cleaners. So I let my cleaners dictate whatever software they want, because I want their lives to be as easy as possible, because it's very hard to find a good cleaner. So for me, if I'm bending any rules or whatever, like I don't care. Whatever works for you, Mr. Cleaner, I want you to use a system that you're aware of. Here's what I need. I just need photos of after the clean. I need photos during the QA. And that's, as long as you make that work for me, I can make it work for all of us. And I look at every single clean. I look at every single picture to make sure things are kind of placed in the right way. I don't kill them if they're like, hey, this pillow is off on the right side instead of the left side. Like, I'm not going to worry about that stuff. But if there's like, I don't know, lipstick on the glass or something like that, I'm like, hey guys, like that's detrimental for my business. And that's another thing for bachelorette-themed. Everyone wears lipsticks. So those clear glass bottles or like plastic bottles, cups, they don't work. Lipstick gets on that all the time. It's so hard to keep clean. So I switched them all out. I put in new Yeti cups, that's stainless steel, $25 a cup. But now I know that dishwasher will actually clean them through. And that's another tip for everyone. Like, whatever you put in your house, make sure you can clean it.
What'd you call it? Yeti cup?
The Yeti.
Yeah, the Yeti wine tumblers. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I'm writing that one down.
Hey,
wine tumblers? Wow.
It's classy. I think that's going to be one of the things where people open up things like, ooh, Yeti wine tumblers, right? Like, you want people to have that feeling when they go in the house, because They expect premium. They're paying $1,000 a night. They expect perfection. They expect
Yeah.
premium. You have to be able to match that. It's just like, Apple has iPhones and, Samsung has like these fancy phones, and no one can compete anymore because they're so far ahead. Like, I need my house to be that far ahead to stand apart. I'm trying to be up 10% of the market, not racing to the bottom on rates.
Man. Now, since you said you don't use turnover B&B, which is what a lot of people use to find the cleaners, how did you find a cleaning company that was good with doing a turnover and not just like a regular clean?
All right. So action step for everyone listening. Go on your Facebook group right now. Go find Arizona short-term rental example. Post in, hey, I'm a dependable cleaner. And boom, you will get about 20 people right then and there. Get 20 people. And then you just got to vet them. You got to vet them. The first guy I hired, he said he loves cleaning. I was like, you're my guy. You love cleaning.
No.
Who says that? Nobody loves cleaning. So, unfortunately, he lost a couple of staff because all the COVID turnover and stuff like that. So he had to draw me as a client, but I'm glad I got a backup client. And you just keep looking for referrals, and that's how you find a handyman for your team. So it's not as hard as people make it sound like to be, but you do need to vet them. So for me being out of state, when I flew there, I compressed my days. I got quotes from 2 landscapers, 2 pool guys, 3 muralists, and I talked to all of them. And I told them what my mission is, because I think someone that is aligned with you philosophically will work better with you at the end of the day. It's not about like the best rate. Like, I could have hired a handyman for cheaper, but that's not the point. The point is to share the wealth with everybody else. You don't have to make all the money in the world. You can share the money with other people. And that's how I found a cleaner. Like, I told the cleaner, hey, I'm not going to nickel and dime you. This is like really expensive. Like, when I first started, I was charging $250 for cleaning fee. You're charging me $320. Like, I'm losing money on you, but I'm not going to nickel and dime you as long as you do it right. And we agree that, hey, if I get 2 4-star reviews or more, I'm going to cut you for cleaning, because I got to maintain standards and I got to be able to communicate with my partner about how do I hold them accountable. And I give them a $20 bonus to the cleaners every single time I get a 5-star review. So now the cleaners know about me because I'm a generous person. $20 isn't a big thing, but I want to reward them for like doing such a good job on the house. So now they're incentivized, like, oh, that's the house that gives me a $20 tip whenever I do a good job and it gets a 5-star review. And I try to make sure it goes to the cleaners, not the company too. So yeah, just don't nickel and dime your cleaners, because they're the most important part of your team. And when you have a good cleaner, like, that will give you so much more confidence to scale into the market, right, guys? Like, the second one does not feel hard to me right now. I'm about to close. I was like, all right, I got my checklist from how I did my first one. I got about 290 line items there, and I just got to check it all off as I do it. So
now on that cleaning tip was off the chain. Hey, you get 2 4-stars, you're gone. I love that. Now, are you having to change cleaning companies, or is that cleaner or is that head cleaner like, hey, we got to put another cleaner on rotation for Kent's unit? So how does that work?
They send 2 cleaners to my house just because this is such big house. But for the most part, they try to keep it consistent to the same 3 pairs that come to my house. So they try to be generally aware. But the head cleaner, she's kind of like the client lead. She's the one that comes to my house all the time to do the QA. And she's the one I say, hey, something broke. So instead of me paying $40 for a handyman to go in there and fix it, can I ship this vanity mirror, like I was telling you guys earlier, to your office and you bring it to the house? So now I don't have to pay $40 for someone just to kind of like take a mirror and go replace it. It happens during a QA, which is another big value proposition for you if you're running your cleaning company. Like, hey, small things like that, I will now save you money as well, because if we can stack it on the same day, it's efficient for me paying my worker going out to the house to do the QA, and they can replace like a small little thing like a mirror or something like that might have found broke.
No, okay, so the cleaning company is charging you $300, right?
Yeah.
I'll say now $320. So how much? Now this is my question then. So how much are you charging the guest?
I charge them $338.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
That's so you can kind of count that as a little bonus income a little bit. Okay.
I mean, to be honest with you guys, I started out, I kept it at $299 until I got the occupancy that I wanted. And then you can start playing with it. Like, hey, what is the sort of tolerance of the groups that are coming to my house? And I can stretch it a little bit more and stretch it a little bit more. And I got to $338 and I was like, I feel pretty good about my booking right now. And my calendar's still getting booked and people aren't blinking at the $338. So I'm going to leave it at that, because that also gives me money to tip out my cleaners whenever they do a good job as well. So it's just, you don't try to like squeeze every dollar. I mean, you try to, but like you don't have to try it, as long as like the market tolerates it. And you just got to be responsive. Like when you get no bookings because your cleaning fee is like $100 more than everybody else, take that as a sign, because that worked in my market. It does not necessarily mean it work in like a market like Houston.
Mm-hmm. Man, that I'm happy, because me and my partner, we had a whole meeting this week. We're like, man, how do we get good cleaners and incentivize them to be good? And the 4-star thing, and then the 20 per 5-star, I think that's awesome as well. Because we were like, hey, let's tip them after X amount of 5 stars. But if it's 5-star every time and you get a tip, I think that's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to make the job easy for them. So I don't expect them to try to clean the cups every single time. So I'm just trying to minimize the amount of problems that might happen in your house. And I think that's something all the listeners just got to do and learn as they go, because you'll quickly realize what works and what doesn't work. I try to get really expensive towels and people start taking them home. So maybe I should stop buying these $50 towels, right? Like, don't spend so much money on these towels, because it's just going to cause you more headache. But it's like the give and take relationship. What can you invest that will give you your guest the best experience? And whenever problems happen, make sure you take care of it right away.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I mean, do people wander off with these expensive, Yeti cups and these towels that you're spending on? They wander off with that stuff?
So far, no.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it's because people overpack for these bachelorette parties. Maybe they get no space in the luggage. I don't know, man. But I charge security deposit, to be honest with you guys, and I just request it through Airbnb Resolution Center. And I say, hey, if everything looks good, 48 hours after you check out, no damages, no missing items, I'll give it all back to you. So I try to have sort of like a chaperone in the group. Like I have a security deposit, so maybe they will, if there's a logical voice in the room, like, hey, don't steal the cups, maybe. Like, I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I think having someone keeping the group accountable in the group.
How big of a security deposit do you put?
I charge $750
Okay.
security deposit. So
and we've talked about it on this show before. It's not really a security deposit, because Airbnb can choose to give him some money or not.
No, he's requesting it from the Resolution Center. He gets
I'm
it.
requesting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's I'm like, that is a good idea. To request the 7. Yeah, of course they ain't running off with no Yeti cut of $750 on the line.
Well, here's how I explain it, right? When I request a $750, I tell them, hey, this is $750 security deposit. This is very similar to a hold that the hotel puts on your credit card whenever you check into a hotel. So right then and there, you normalize the security deposit that you're requesting from your clients, because they're like, oh yeah, whenever I go to the hotel and check in, they do put a hold on my credit card. Same concept. So that's how I do it. And no one has ever given me any issues about requesting the $750 deposit. So it works. It works really well.
Okay, so they book, right? They book, and they you talk to them. Thank you for booking all that stuff, all your automated stuff too, and their credit card goes through and they pay for their stay for the weekend for, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is, and then you hit them with a message. Hey, I need you to send me $750 deposit.
I ask for it 3 to 7 days before the check-in, so I don't do it right away. I do it. So that mimics the hotel experience that you guys are so familiar with. So I'm trying to normalize the security deposit as much as possible, so someone doesn't think I'm trying to take more money.
Yeah, it is. So I was thinking, no one gets pissed off and says, "What are you asking for more money for? I already paid this shit." If no one gets pissed off.
No one.
It's all in how you word it, like Micah says all the time. It's all how you word it. So how do you word it to them again? I'm gonna try this shit.
You should. I mean, it's like your only, how to say it? It's like your only remedy if. It's your only remedy if anything ever happens to the house, right? Like that's within your control, and you have to have someone keeping the group accountable. Like you just need that sane voice when they're about to do some dumb stuff, and like, hey guys, everyone chill out. Let's not like, I don't know, body slam someone into this table or something like that. I don't know, but you just got to do it. So I'm going to try to look up the exact wording for you, but basically it's along the lines of, hey, we're so excited to welcome you to the house. We're requesting the $750 security deposit per the listing description. This is very similar to a the hold that a hotel will put on your credit card whenever you check in. Our intention is to always fully refund you 100% of the security deposit within 48 hours of checking out, assuming no house rules have been broken, no damage to the property, and no sort of like house rule violations, and no issues. And so you make it really clear about why you're asking for the 750. You normalize it, and I haven't had any pushback. Like,
okay, what happens when you get pushback? I mean, do you have a contingency plan if they say, nah, well, I don't feel comfortable paying that? What are you going to tell them?
That should be a red flag for me. Like, why is this person refusing thing? At that point in time, I would cancel the reservation, to be honest with you. Like, I would rather have the house be empty than invite someone that's going to trash the house. And that's the decision I clear with my partners. I told them every single time, I would rather have the house empty than invite someone that's going to come in and cause problems, because it's not worth the stress. It's not worth pissing off your neighbors if they're going to have a big party at the house. I don't have a really good answer for you besides I won't let them into the house. Because you got to have high standards, right? Like we talked about, you got to have high standards. Otherwise, you are inviting problems. You're losing that peace of mind. You're going to spend a weekend, instead of playing with your daughter, you're going to spend a weekend looking at your Ring security cameras, make sure they're not having a party. You don't want to do that. It's not worth it. It's not why we got into this business.
That is true, man. You got to go high end. I love that security deposit. I'm going to start doing that. And I've heard people say they do it. Like, hey, I just requested through the, but that 750, yeah, that'll make somebody think twice, man. That'll, somebody got 750 on the line. So I might try it at 200 or something just to test it out.
Why not? I mean, do it. That is like in commensurate or in proportion with like the nightly rates that you're charging. I think that just makes so much sense. And it's not something that's so, I don't know, like out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I ask for everyone's emails through StayFi at the property so I can direct market to them afterwards. Correct. And they don't view that as weird. It's like I go to the airport and I sign up for Wi-Fi and I usually get my email for it. Same thing for the security deposit. I think it's very normalized behavior. People used to travel to hotels all the time, and I think they know what a security hold is.
Now, since you brought up StayFi, because we use StayFi as well. Now, with you having you're charging like $1,200 a night, right? Now, I know Airbnb has to be having a huge chunk on the guest side because they're charging 3% of that. Do you have your own direct booking website?
No, not yet. And just another piece of advice for people, like you don't have to have everything set up right away. So I know where I am in my path. I knew my first goal was to build up the Airbnb reviews first and just focus on that. My next step is going to be after I get the website up. After I get my second listing up, I'm going to get the reviews on there, and then I'm going to set up the direct booking site so that I can refer all the girls that have been to my house to my new house, so that if they have weddings, they can kind of get towards there. So my whole thought is just I'm going to specialize in bachelorette. I'm going to specialize in family-friendly ones so that when all the bachelorettes kind of grow up, they have kids, I can continue to market them to family-friendly Airbnbs so that I can maximize the value I get from the customers throughout the entire life journey after I get kind of like building what we call in insurance like a book of business. Like they become part of your book of business.
Love it. Love it.
You have to keep marketing back to them and giving them incentives, especially if they left your house in a good condition. Those are the people you want back in your house.
So you like MailChimp them like every few months to remind them, hey, come stay again, get a discount and all that. Absolutely. So do you have it like set up to send a message after 3 months, hey, I hope you're going great. If you ever get in town again, honeymoon time, come hang out. And then like 6 months out or a year out, say, hey, is it still working out? You're going to get divorced? You can have a divorce party over here.
Well, I'm telling you, that's on my plan. I don't have that set up right now. And it took me a long time, guys. Like I was like, oh man, I didn't do this yet. I didn't get a direct booking website yet. And I just had to remind myself, like, dude, you're still taking steps consistently every day. That's what matters the most. You've educated yourself. Just take it easy and just take it slow and just make those incremental steps every day. So I don't have MailChimp set up. I continue capturing the emails. I don't have my direct booking website set up, but I'm going to, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with it when the time comes. It's just about, hey, you have like a newborn at home, and I think I'm trying to be a good dad, good husband first and foremost. And I know like this stuff takes a lot of time, and I want to make sure I'm there for my wife and my daughter, because you only get to be a dad once. So I'm trying to really cherish that time with my family, and I'm not trying to kill myself. I really wanted to quit my W-2 job as soon as possible, but I know that if I stick it out longer, I can have more conventional loans up to my name. I can borrow more money, scale faster. And, that's a decision I've come to peace with. And I think, everyone has their own way. Everyone might say, hey, you should quit now. You should quit now. For me, I don't want to work on the weekends. So this 9-to-5 thing works out well for me. I can continue to build income. I can scale my portfolio. And once I get to the 10 conventional loans, chances are I'm going to be on my way. And I think I'm going to be in a really good position when I do that. And I think I'm investing in a virtual assistant right now. She's going to start on Monday. And I only have one listing, guys, but I'm hiring a virtual assistant because I'm trying to make sure all these small little tasks gets to the VA so that she can handle all the messaging. She can handle like these issues when they're hot water heaters. Like I'm going to spend the time to develop her so that I can invest everything back into the business so I can scale a lot faster.
This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful in so many ways because you just now dropped another gem. He's hiring a virtual assistant right now with one fucking unit because, and I'll tell you from right now, we scaled like crazy this past year. We have over 40 units, right? And now we're hiring Airbnb virtual assistants, right?
Yeah.
And Fed is going crazy trying to empty everything from his brain for all 40 units and to teach him all this shit. But if you have one from the beginning, from unit 1, and then you get unit 2 and unit 3, she's going to grow with your company. That's fucking beautiful.
It's awesome. Man. It's awesome. And something feels so good about being able to provide a job opportunity for someone overseas. The person I'm hiring is a single mom, and having raised a kid for just 3 months, I'm like, yo, I got so much respect for single moms out there. It is hard. So I look for grit first and foremost. I look for high charisma from my VA because they're gonna have to answer calls from my guests, and I'm gonna have to coach her like, hey, when you answer the phone, pretend you're my wife, so that like if any issues, you can just kind of tell me, and like I can kind of call them afterwards, like, hey, my wife told you, so they don't think it's like a virtual assistant or something like that.
Good tip.
Man,
good tip.
Yeah, you're a mindset guy. I love your mindset. You're not gonna take on too much. You're like, hey, this is where I am, and you do everything very calculated, man. I love your mindset. And you how you even said you hired a virtual assistant right now. What you're basically like, I know in 2 or 3 years you're gonna blow up off this because basically what you're doing is just loading up. You're not shooting, you're just loading up. So then by the time you got your VA, you can just scale that thing all the way up. Now I know how to hire another VA and what they need to do. Man, you're about to kill them in like 2 or 3 years, bro.
And your VA can train the next VA.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm telling everyone to be patient, because everyone wants to quit so fast. And I really had to have the mindset, like, why do I really want to quit? Like, what am I want to do? I thought about like, hey, maybe I become a real estate agent so that I can specialize in short-term rentals or something like that, right? Because I'm killing it. But I was like, do I really want to spend a weekend like showing houses instead of playing with my daughter? And I don't know, this quote came to me like an offshoot from advice I got from a mentor. Is I thought of this to myself, like, you can have it all if you just realize you already have it all. And I think that is like so good that I taught myself that. I was like, you can have it all, just remember you already have it all. And I was just looking at my daughter earlier and just playing with her. And I was like, wow, this VA is going to cost me $5 an hour. If I didn't have that VA, like, I wouldn't be doing this with my daughter. Like, I would give up $5 for this hour any day. So I want to live my life with no regrets. I know I'm spending a lot of money on a VA already when I have just one listing. But that's why I'm staying in my corporate job, so that I can keep investing back into it, so that I can make like $50 in my corporate job. I give $5 an hour to the VA to handle some of the stuff. And in turn, I get to spend more time with my daughter. And that is so good. That feels so good, man.
Facts,
so good.
man.
Priceless
Trust
right
me.
there.
I know, man. It took me 4 years to get off my corporate job after doing this. So, and the reason, and that's why I say, like, you're right, be patient. It took me 4 years. And yeah, like this whole time I've been off, my daughter was just born. I could spend time with her in my office. I can have her in my office with me while I'm working. You can't beat that. You can't beat it. So yeah, just be patient, man. You're gonna crush it.
Hey, what helped you finally make the leap to quit your job? Like, was there a number you had to hit? How did you decide to do that?
Well, I had already hit the number. The thing that was keeping me on my job was fear. It was truly fear of leaving. Okay, how do I get health insurance? How am I going to get loans? So basically what I did was, I'll tell you the backstory. So basically I got sick. I went to the hospital. I had caught pneumonia, and I stayed in the hospital, and I was just sitting there in the hospital. And it's COVID season, so your family can't be there with you. You're by yourself. They're not allowed to be there. And my wife was 7 months pregnant, so I'm like, okay, I can't. Life's too short. I'm like, I can't sit here and just keep doing this, working every day. Then I have to go try to help with the business. So I was like, in my hospital, I just wrote down all my fears of like, why don't you quit? And I just wrote it down. Then I wrote the answer to the fear. And then 2 weeks later, I put my 2 weeks into my job. And it was just like, it's fear. You write out your fears and write the answer to the fears. That was it for me.
I think you're right. I think sometimes I try to cover it up with just saying, hey, this is why I want to mess everything back. But fear is definitely in me, man. It's like it's built into all of us. I think doing this real estate investment has proven to me like I need to keep reaffirming my identity. It's like, hey, I used to be an EMT. People used to call 911 to get me coming through the doors. And I was like 19 years old when that happened. And I just had to keep affirming, like, hey, I left corporate before. I went to run a restaurant, turn it around when they were losing so much money. And then now I'm back in corporate. I was like, oh, I can always go back to corporate. And I think that's like trying me to self-affirm and get my identity right. So yeah, I definitely still have the fear in me for sure. But I think I'm gonna take your advice and write down all my fears.
Yeah. I keep it on my whiteboard. So whenever I walk in my office, I see my fears and I see the solution to them. So, and I do it even when I get anxious. Like if I get anxiety about something, like, for example, I'm working on this deal in Arlington and the numbers didn't work out for me. Right. So I'm like, and then I got into the deal and I'm like, I could walk away and lose 7,500. I'm like, well, how do I make this thing work? What am I fearful of right now? And I wrote it out and I'm like, okay. So I called one of my real estate friends and he gave me advice on what he could do. Then I even called Steve. I'm like, hey, I got this if you want to do it. And, so it's about using the world around you. You usually have everything you need in front of you. It's just when you're full of fear and you're anxious, you forget what's around you. So yeah, man, and writing out those fears, man, that is powerful. Powerful.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
That's real quick, we need to wrap up on time, but at work, there's people that are like, they kind of know that I have these rentals and the Airbnbs and stuff like that. And a lot of people are like, why are you still here? Why are you still here? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm planning my exit. Don't worry. And then there's some people like, wow, how can you leave? What about, security and like health insurance and stuff like that? And today someone asked me that and I was like, well, okay, what it's a line expense. What is health insurance? Mm-hmm. I was like, well, here at work, we pay $500 a month. How much is it out in the real world? Is it 10,000 a month? And he's like, well, something compared to what we get, about 1,000 a month. I said, that's one rental property.
Yeah.
If I'm not working, I can get more rental properties, right? I can get a few a month. Otherwise, I'm at work and then I have to do it after work. And then I, like you said, sacrificing time with the family, and then I'll just be working. It's like 2 jobs. I'm like, why can't I just, if I quit here, if that health insurance keeps these guys at work to like 70, man, 80, almost 90 years old. These guys are so freaking terrified of losing their health insurance through work. And the only difference between paying for it from your paycheck and paying for it outside is $500. You're sacrificing your whole life for $500.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just got to look at things differently. It's all mindset.
There you go. I love it. That's mindset, man. It's mindset.
I love that. I love you are able to attach a number to that fear because I think that's like so important. And I think, I'm starting to talk to some coworkers at work and some of the advice I've been giving people is like, hey, if you do want to invest in short-term rental, be really careful about who you share this thought and this news to, because I can guarantee you if you don't start in short-term rentals or real estate investment, it's probably because you're putting yourself into an environment that everyone is telling you that it's not going to succeed or you're crazy, and that is toxic. So you have to be really careful about who you tell your aspirations to, because not everyone has the same mindset. Not everyone is going to want to invest in real estate, and not everyone's comfortable being uncomfortable. Like some of the things I tell people is like, hey, look, you want to start doing this, maybe start getting uncomfortable. Like I read this book called Wim Hof Method. I'm trying to improve myself. I'm not sure you heard of the Wim Hof Iceman, but this guy takes like ice bath all the time, right? And one of his first things that he recommends is like, just take a cold shower. At the end of a hot shower, turn to cold for about 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And that's how I first started training my mind to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And every like week that went by, I added 15 seconds to it. So at the end of my hot shower, 30 seconds this week. Next week, I'll do 45 seconds. And I kept adding and adding. And then like on a day I closed on my deal, I was nauseous, dude. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to do this deal. I went into like 3 minutes at the end of it. And I was like, okay, all right. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And I don't know, like just start training your habits on like, how do you become uncomfortable? The cold shower worked for me. I think another thing is like just being decisive. I heard about this on a podcast. If your wife and you can't decide on what's on dinner and then you decide 2 places, just pick 2 places, get food from both of the places. And right then and there, that rep, oh my God, that's going to train you to become a millionaire easily because now you're repping yourself into becoming decisive. And I was like, oh my God, that felt so good. And now every day when I talk to my wife, like, hey, look, millionaires are decisive. Just pick, just decide, just pick, just decide. And it's just like trains your mindset to become more decisive over time. And
what was the name of this book?
It was Wim Hof Method. That's the Iceman guy. But I'm pretty sure I heard about like the 4 traits of a millionaire from like a Bigger Pockets podcast at some point. So I think two of the traits were like being decisive, and the one was about having momentum. So that's why I asked all your readers today. I mean, your listeners today, when you listen to this podcast, go home right now, go look up an address on on PriceLabs, pay the $10, and instantly you would have built your knowledge like, okay, I know this much about this market now. I am now more equipped for a short-term rental investing career. I'm going to take a 15-second cold shower to end on my shower today. And now I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And man, just taking these small steps will get you ready for so much more stuff, I think, going forward.
Awesome, man.
This is the best podcast we've had in a long time, man. This was good. I love this. This was a good podcast, dude.
I got a nickname for him. It's Kent He, the hippie assassin, because he'll say some assassin ass shit, and then he'll go back to, oh yeah, but I want to save the children and stuff. And it's like, so he's the both. He's Kent He, the hippie assassin. So yeah, man, thank you for hopping on.
Yeah,
Kent.
thank you, Kent, man. This is awesome, man.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys. Like, I love being able to surround myself with people like you guys are in real estate that has the abundance mindset. And, you know, I told my wife last year, I was like, hey, maybe I'll get on a podcast. And you guys just came out of the blue. Like, I was like, how did this manifest? I was like, I'm going to get on a podcast. And you guys invited me. And I was like, Tina, like, they invited me. I was like, what? She's like, what? So thank you guys for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. I had a great time talking with all you guys. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Ditto. Where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at Who You're With. That's Youre. We chose his name because it was the model that we grew up with. You know, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. So we always remind ourselves that it's not about where you're at. It's about who you're with at the end of the day. And I just wanted to carry this model forward. And now it's on one of our walls in our Airbnb. And it's just like mind blowing. It's like we get to provide a home where people come together and cherish like their relationship that they make in life. Because you can't take money to the grave, but you can take the relationships and all the memories with you. And I think that's so important for everyone to remember. There's so much hate, so much divisiveness over the last couple of years. Just get people back to like chilling with each other and just like just remembering what matters most. I think that's what's most important.
Amen. The hippie assassin.
Hey, thank you guys.
You should do the ad. You should get that at the hippie assassin. Boom. There you go.
Man, thank you for coming on, Kent, man. This has been awesome, man. And yeah, I think I'll see you Tuesday on the next call. We'll have to listen.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You too, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Dude, that was a good show, man. I haven't had that. He was dropping some gems, not only about the cleaning, the mindset. I loved this show. That was a good one. That was a good show, man.
It was a great show. And it just, oh man, when we talk to someone like that, it kind of refreshes us, you know, because we get bogged down in the day to day and, you know, handling, putting out fires and trying to scale and doing all kinds of craziness. And then, the way he's meticulous about things, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, he could like say, oh shit, I just try to get 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 houses right now. No, do this one right, get my VA in place. Okay, then we're gonna get my partners in place, then we're gonna get the next one, and then we're gonna get everything settled before problems occur, so we can have it all ready to roll. And it's just like, oh man, just the meticulousness of it. I love that. And then he wants to give back. That's the thing, you know. That's his why. That's his why. It was to make a better world for his
Mhm.
daughter, for all of our daughters and
For
sons
real.
and everything, you know. And so yeah, the hippie assassin.
Yeah, man, that was a good episode, dude. I'm pumped about that one. That's one I'm about to brag about. I was like, man, text my mastermind group, I'm like, bro, y'all gotta wait till y'all hear this next episode, dude. This dude's dropping gems. So yeah, that was
I moved the mouse about 10 times to make sure we were recording because I was gonna be so upset.
yeah, because this one was too good. This one was too
I was
good.
like,
I'm like,
okay,
oh,
I see the red button blinking still, so we're recording.
yeah, man. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for continuing to listen to us, man. And hope y'all are inspired by that. If you haven't, you should be able to take action after listening to that. He only has one. And he's making 18 grand a month. So y'all should be able to take action after that. And yeah, remember, you can find us at liveletthrive.com. Email us, liveletthrive@gmail.com. And yeah, and you want Steve's management, Argis Rentals, I'll let Steve pitch it out to you.
ArgisRentals.com, your one-stop shop for managing your Airbnbs. You know, you're learning from our show and stuff like that. Hit us up, and we always give free advice. You know, you don't have to sign with us, but whatever. We just love to give it free advice. We love to talk to people, our fans. We love to talk to our fans. You know, fans shout out to us all the time. We talk to them and give them advice, and it's just something we love to do. So yeah, so ArgisRentals.com, ArgestRentals. Argist is the largest.
Let's go. All right. And we are out.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.